What is going on, everybody? It's Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel, and thank you guys for joining me. We have some special guests in the house. We have a full basketball panel because we're talking all things NBA. We've got John Jenkins to my left, Marcus Lamar, up under the screen, up under me, pause, and Ashton Edmunds in the building. What's going on, fellas? How you guys feeling?
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? Feeling great. Feeling good.
So, man, the NBA is going on. We're in full swing with the NBA. We only got a few more games left, guys. Only a couple more weeks of NBA basketball before we get into the playoffs and the play-in, and we'll get into that. But one of the biggest things that happened in the NBA last night was the return of Anthony Davis and the Lakers looking like they're slowly but surely getting back to full health. Marcus, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts on Anthony Davis's return, and how do you think the chemistry for the Lakers is going to mesh moving forward?
Well, it's good to see him back on the basketball court. He's been stealing money for the last month and a half. No, but in all seriousness, I'm happy that he's back. He's obviously a key part of what the Lakers are trying to do in terms of winning a championship. Now, if you watch the game and you just look at his stats, he didn't play well. He had 4 points in 17 minutes. He was 2 of 10 shooting from the field. But with that being said, it's his first game back. He doesn't have his basketball legs under him. But the Lakers are going to need Anthony Davis on both ends of the floor to play at an extremely high level if they want to repeat as champions. Now, what I will say is this. If the Lakers are fully healthy, and I preface my comments by saying if, there's no team in the National Basketball Association that's beating a healthy LeBron James and Anthony Davis in a 7-game series. Mark my words.
Oh, John, I see the face, John. You don't look like you agree with what he's saying, John. What's your thoughts on what Marcus had to say? Like you had some displeasure in that.
I am all with peace and unity. As a black man, I think we should uplift each other. But in this instance, I'm just gonna respectfully, disagree. Like Marcus was saying, obviously his basketball legs aren't there, so I gave him a pass. Being 2 for 10, he was definitely trying to build his own little practice facility, so that was his thing. I really can't. I can really never really go deep into like someone who's on a minutes restriction. Like you're just trying to get yourself back together. So with AD being back, I think it's fine. Like the Lakers are gonna Laker if that makes any sense. Like they're gonna do that. They're going to rest their star guys, and then kick it into gear during the playoffs time. But what they do not want to happen is being a playing game. That's the worst place to be in. Like if y'all were going to, play around and rest players and then be in that playing game and then try and throw LeBron and AD in those situations where they just have to come back and play out of their mind to advance the next round is clipped. Like the Lakers don't want to be in that. They want to be in that. They want to avoid the play-in tournament. I think that's their best advice. Like my best advice for them: stay out the play-in game.
Ashton, you got any thoughts or comments on what John or Marcus has said so far about Anthony Davis' return?
No, definitely. I think I definitely agree with Marcus, man. Anthony Davis, he's been out since February, 2 months. So he's really just trying to get his legs back. He only had 4 points, 4 rebounds, and just 2 for 10 for shooting. So he's trying to get back in that rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Schroeder had a great game. Andre Drummond had a great game. I think he had 14 points and 19 rebounds. So it's the other players that are really stepping up in the absence of, like LeBron and with AD just returning last night. So, I feel like it's going to take AD some time. Not a lot of time, but it's definitely going to take him maybe like a week or two to really get back to, his playing style, his regular playing style.
Now, guys, yeah, Anthony Davis, like you said, you shouldn't expect much from the first game back, right? Like you said, you're on a minutes restriction and things like that. But to John's point, the Lakers they're falling in the rankings, right? And they could easily be in that play-in game because it doesn't look like LeBron's coming back no time soon or until right before the playoffs. So is chemistry? Do you think chemistry is going to be an issue with the team, even though they've won a championship together, but there are new pieces and 2 of your best players, the 2 players that put you in that championship category are going to be coming off big injuries. Is that a concern, Marcus? Are you worried about that?
The answer to that is no. Look, how many times, and you know what's funny? Because I'm glad that you brought this up. Every year, NBA fans and people in the media fall in love with the regular season darling, whether it's the Toronto Raptors, Paul George's Indiana Pacers. This year, everyone keeps telling me, you better stop sleeping on the Utah Jazz, Marcus. You better stop sleeping on the Denver Nuggets or the Phoenix Suns. They're not winning the championship. Like, I don't know if I have to say it in English, Spanish, or Swahili, but you just said the Lakers are falling in the standings. Last year, I was told Portland was the most dangerous A seed by the media in NBA history. The Lakers are currently 5th. When they get into the playoffs, they are going to be the most dangerous 5th, 6th, or 7th seed in NBA history, and they are going to be playing in the NBA Finals. If you don't believe me, just wait and see.
What about the Clippers? Hold on, but the Clippers are a team that is still there. Actually, you ain't a fan.
Nah. I mean, as long as LeBron is in the league, then nobody's gonna beat LeBron. And once the playoffs,
you're not agreeing with that.
Once the playoffs come around, bro. I mean, Bron is in a whole different mode, bro. He can take a team, like, it doesn't matter what seed they are, they're going to make it to the finals every time. It doesn't matter. So
I knew I liked Ashton for a reason. But
we're talking about Bron off the injury, John. You were with this. You think the Lakers are a shoo-in to make the finals as long as LeBron's there? I mean, I know you're not agreeing with that.
That is a one-size-fits-all cap right there, fellas.
Yeah.
Because I mean, his finals record shows that he can be beat. So that's one thing. Second thing, it's like, guys, like, let's be honest. Like, it's not father time, because there's a lot of, players who have shown father time is, like, it's just talking. But at the same time, guys, like, let's take in consideration that chemistry that Jeff's been talking about is going to be pivotal. Like, for them, if they're in that playing game, you have to go against the Spurs who've been cooking, the Mavericks. They'll get it together. Like, teams like that, you have to be worried about. The Grizzlies, the Warriors, you could put a stamp on them. Like, those teams, you don't got to worry about. Teams with chemistry and who are like really like getting into a groove right now, you gotta. It's respecting. It's not a oh, like, this team is trash. Like, if respecting LeBron and AD coming off injuries, you're telling me a LeBron and AD off injuries is better than a team who has chemistry right now? That it don't add up.
Well, I don't know, John. I was with you when you was right, but then you start naming the Dallas Mavericks and the
I was alluding to your point about teams with chemistry. Like, it's one thing to come back and, like, they have like you get LeBron and AD back after injury for like a month. That's enough time. I like Ashton was saying, I give them 2 to 3 weeks together. That's enough time for a player of AD and a player of LeBron's caliber to get loose, and you don't have to. You coming back right before the playing tournament, who does that help? Like LeBron's taking off almost a month now?
Yeah, he's been gone for a minute.
Basketball, those basketball legs are a real thing. You think 2 for 10 was by accident? You think he did that to throw us off? Like, that's a real thing. Like, come on, guys.
Marcus, you look like you got something to say. What's up, man?
Because, John, I like John, but he disgusts me at times. Like, his sports takes really disgusts me. Here's why. LeBron, does anyone on this panel believe that LeBron is not purposely staying out to rest himself right now?
Like,
he's still in.
He gotta be. Yeah, he's definitely resting. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. So even though he's a 36-year-old car, when you get an old experienced car, sometimes it might take a little bit long to rev up, but once it gets going, it's smooth sailing. That's what LeBron is. He's the ultimate Iron Man. And the reason I'm picking him to go to the finals, which, by the way, I love how everyone talks about chemistry with the Lakers, but James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving have barely played any games together, and everyone has them anointed as the next champions and the champions of 2022 and of 2023. So I'm confused how what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. The Lakers, with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, will get back in the swing of things. It's going to take some time, but mark my words, if they play the Nuggets in round 1 with no Jamal Murray, they beat them with Jamal Murray last year. The Nuggets aren't beating the Lakers without Jamal Murray this year. You can book it. And then once you get in the dance, we know how it is. The Lakers are going to be a tough out. We don't lose in the first round, unlike that Michael guy.
So you're what you're saying is you're assuming that they're going to stay the 5th seed, right?
Yes, because we're no longer prioritizing the regular season. We're going to be the most dangerous 5th seed in NBA history. Yeah,
because they dropped to that 6th seed, and we get a Clippers Lakers first round.
Who you
The Clippers is It's taking y'all, right?
The Clippers is doing what?
Clippers
in round
Clippers
one.
A Clippers Lakers first round?
John, what's LeBron's record in round one?
Something to
We
know.
don't lose in round one, partner.
I mean, there's a first for everything. You don't believe?
No, not this time. No.
Like I said, it would be in the Lakers' best interest to stay out of that 6 to play in seed, just for their own, for their own health.
I mean, I agree with John in that aspect. You don't want to slip too far because, like you said, I think the Lakers is going to use round one to get their legs under them because LeBron's probably not coming back until right before the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And to get a start up against Denver is a lot easier than getting a start up against the Clippers. I'm not even going to like you play the Clippers the first round. I would be scared as a Lakers fan. I would be scared. It'd be like, okay, this ain't the series to kind of try to get it together. Series against Denver, a series against Dallas or something like that is a series that, okay, like I can try to get it, work things through. A series against the Clippers, it ain't what I want to see. I'm going to just be honest. Ashton, I'm going to come to you with this. We've been focusing a lot on the Lakers. But what about that team out east, the Brooklyn Nets? The Brooklyn is the team that everybody, once they got their 3 guys, they look like a juggernaut in the league. What are your thoughts on Brooklyn as they currently stand with Durant hurt, James Harden hurt, and Kyrie Irving? Marcus, I know it's your man, but he be, he be hey sometimes. What are your thoughts on Brooklyn, Ashton?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for when that whole trade happened, bro, I never saw the Nets winning the championship, even with James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie. I just feel like those 3 players don't mesh, bro. Like, just from seeing how Harden played with Chris Paul. I remember Chris Paul got injured during it was a series during the Warriors. It was like game 7, and Harden didn't come through. He didn't come through. I thought, he's just a scorer. He's not a leader, in my opinion. Kevin Durant stays injured. I still don't count his rings with the Warriors. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
no.
He really. That's just me though. That's just me though. You know what I'm saying? That's just me though. And then you got Blake Griffin. He stays injured. LaMarcus Aldridge, just retired. So it's really Kyrie's carrying this team. He leads in points, assists, and I think steals. So it's gonna be hard for the Nets to even win the championship.
Coming in with a hot take.
Yeah. John, your response to Brooklyn. What's your thoughts on Brooklyn so far?
Brooklyn. Man.
Your big brother nowadays. The big brother in New York. Brooklyn is still the nephews in New York.
I mean, as far as them, like the other panel saying, Marcus and Ashton were saying, I didn't have them penciled in for like a chip when it was just, KD and Kyrie. I was like, oh, that's a dope duo. That Harden trade definitely changed my mind because that's a definitive big 3. And Harden doesn't have to be in that position where he has to be the leader as he was on Houston with the CP3. So I feel like he was able to just come in, do what he has to do because his game will adjust. Like, it is what it is. Once they grab Blake, I'm like, all right, guys, this 2012, what's happening? Like why are all these players flocking to Brooklyn? But I mean, just to, I don't want to, beat around the bush. To answer your question, I think as of right now, with that team healthy, because that's what we're banking on for most teams in the playoffs. With them healthy, that team has stamped their way to the chip. Like it's like there's really no other team that's going to give them a fit. Like their teams will be competitive, like as we've seen the playoffs to be. But as far as like the Nets, like they're the superior team in the league. I would say the East. Like they're the superior team in the league.
Oh, Marcus, I know you're not with that. What's your thoughts on John saying the Nets are the best team in basketball?
So I obviously have a lot to say. I want the audience to know this about John. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, John is in a damned if you do, damned if you don't position. Because it's no secret he doesn't like LeBron, but because he's a low self-esteem Knicks fan, it pains him to root for the Nets. So the Nets and Lakers is the worst possible finals for someone like John. Like, it would kill him to his core to actually sit down and watch that because he wouldn't know, okay, who do I root for? Now, with that being said,
I wouldn't watch.
Y'all also lives in Brooklyn too, so you know what I mean. Like, so he'd have to hear the party down the street to make it to the final.
Happy wife, happy life, not by choice.
Here's the thing with the Nets, and I'll openly admit there's no other NBA Finals matchup I want to see other than the Lakers and Nets. But I have a sneaky suspicion, just like last year, when we thought the Lakers and Clippers, we were going to get that matchup and everybody was salivating for it. No, pause, right? We didn't get it. Like something interrupted the proceedings. I think the Nets have a least chance of making it to the finals than the Lakers. And I know that sounds egregious because you would say, well, the Lakers have a harder path, seeing as how two of their big dogs are injured. And the Nets have three guys who on any given night can carry the scoring for the team. Notice I said scoring, not necessarily leadership. Okay. I made a video the other day on my YouTube channel, the Mark My Word Show, Marcus Lamar, where I said the Nets, are they Mike D'Antoni's team or are they Steve Nash's team? Because their commitment to offense, right, is what they did. They went out and got Blake Griffin. They went out and got LaMarcus Aldridge before he retired. They doubled down on what they do well, which is score the basketball. The Lakers going out and getting Andre Drummond is a reinforcement on what they do well, which is play defense and defend. Even without LeBron and AD, you notice this Lakers team is still competitive defensively. They just can't score the ball. There's nobody to facilitate the offense for them. So if those two teams meet, I trust LeBron to rally his troops more than I trust Kevin Durant, who Ashton wants to disqualify as champion, which he lost me there, to lead his troops.
All right, I mean, there's a lot being said right here. Once again, I'm talking to Marcus Lamar, John Jenkins, and Ashton Edmunds. We're talking all things NBA. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Now, there's a lot in this. So you compare, Marcus, you compare Brooklyn to the Clippers. But Brooklyn ain't the Clippers. Kevin Durant ain't Paul George. Kyrie Irving ain't Kawhi Leonard. And James Harden is better than both of them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to just be honest. So that's a hard comparison. Now, I get it. The thing is, Durant's been hurt all year. So I'm not going to excuse that. I'm not going to act like that's not a problem. And now Harden has hamstring injuries, which is tough to come back from in the same season. And he's already had a setback. So that's like a problem. That scares me. But if all things even, if we're think that LeBron James gonna come back and be 100% healthy for the playoffs, I'd imagine the Brooklyn's resting their guys. They're a 2 seed, by the way, and that they're gonna be 100% for the playoffs. Kyrie, knock on wood, has been injury free this year. Just had some, personal problems. Ain't no way if those three guys are there, Brooklyn's not making the finals, right? Ashton, am I bugging when I say that? Like, ain't no way. No. Those three guys healthy, they'll make the finals.
No, definitely. They're gonna make the finals. Yeah, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie, they're gonna make the finals. Like that's just off rip. Those are three of the best scorers in NBA honestly in NBA history. I would say James Harden is definitely one of the best scorers in NBA history that I've ever seen. And then you had Kevin Durant. Kyrie's a true point guard. You know what I'm saying? Right behind, I would say like right behind Chris Paul. He's a great point guard. So definitely the Nets are the best team in the East if those three are healthy. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, so with that, Marcus, you think full healthy Nets, the Lakers are still better. Why is that?
So here's the thing, right? Kevin, John is discussing with me. Right?
His face, I can't stop looking at him, man. He's just ready to rebut anything that you say, but go ahead.
So here's the thing, right? Part of being a championship team is being able to get it done on both ends of the floor. You all can correct me. If the Nets, I believe, are currently not even middle of the pack, they're towards the bottom of the pack in terms of points per game. All the defensive statistics that we care about, they're either dead last or close to last. All the offensive statistics, they're either dead first or close to first, right? The Lakers, conversely, are a top 10 offensive team and a top 10 defensive team. And again, I just have supreme faith. You can call me a homer. You can say I'm on LeBron's payroll. But when LeBron James has requisite help, keyword meaning requisite help, he's incredibly difficult to beat. We saw him take Golden State 6 games with Matthew Dellavedova and Jeff Lightsy Jr. as his second and third best option, right? Now, you got Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond, who I'm not the biggest Andre Drummond fan, but he serves a purpose. Schroeder, Rel, Kuzma, who comes and goes, and he mostly goes. I just think the Lakers, all I'm going to say is the Lakers win championships in bunches, and LeBron, we didn't come, notice I said we didn't come to LA to just win one championship. We will be winning the championship.
We didn't come to LA. We didn't. I like it. I like it, John. You shaking your head, man. But we'll move on. We'll come back to Lakers in Brooklyn another time. But what I do want to talk about, because a lot of the guys that on the teams that we're talking about, ironically, are injured. Have been injured for long durations of time. So it's going to be hard to pick an NBA MVP this season. John, I'm coming to you. If you had a vote for MVP this year on April 23rd, who would it be and why?
As much as it pains me to say this, because there's a lot of things I love in this world, and there's a lot of things I cannot stand. And one of those things I cannot stand are the Philadelphia 76ers. Why?
I'm the city of Philly, John. I'm with you. City of Philly is awful.
I mean, when you're from the illustrious Delaware State University, they don't really have a team in Delaware, so they're a lot of team hoppers, man, and they're close to team is Philly. So when you're having these sports conversations, there are a lot of Philly fans. You're like, bro, you're not from there. Like, what is it? So anyway, long story short, at one point, it was Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. Like, I feel like we can at least like start trending in the right path.
Mm-hmm.
With Joel Embiid, with his injury, it kind of became Jokic's to lose, right? I mean, the numbers are crazy, like, and now he's kind of doing it by himself. But my vote has to go to Joel only because the Sixers are the 1 seed. He's finally tapped into that, dominant player that Shaq, other, NBA legends and Hall of Famers have been telling him to tap into. Yeah. And, with the Nets kind of in and out with their lineup, whatever, their, players, the Sixers are number 1 seed. So I think that should be awarded. The numbers are very similar between him and Jokic. So it's not like, this person is dominating at this. Like, the only thing Jokic would have assists, but Embiid is doing it on both ends of the floor. I vote right now, April 23rd, would have to go to Joel Embiid as my MVP. So please, if you get a chance to edit this, put somebody else's name. But yeah, Joel Embiid is my MVP right now. Only because of team success, stats, and just embracing like that whole leader of the team. Because Ben Simmons, he's just existing. He's getting cardio out there. So my man Embiid, he's doing what he has to do.
Hey, behave. Stop. Don't do that.
Listen, Simmons is out there getting.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Simmons is getting carried. Okay, Ashton, your MVP.
Cardio, however you want to put it.
No, I definitely yeah. I mean, Embiid really almost hit one of the greatest buzzer beaters we've ever seen the other night. That was crazy. But I really got to go with Jokic, man, as my MVP. He's doing it. Like, he's doing it in every category. He's one of the best big men that can pass. Like, I've never seen anybody that's smooth passing, scoring, rebounding. Like, he's doing it on both sides of the floor. So, and like you said, him and Embiid's numbers are very similar. Embiid's averaging 30, Jokic is averaging 26. They're both averaging 11 rebounds, but Jokic has him on assists. So I would have to go with Jokic as my MVP for this season.
Marcus Lamar, the floor is yours. MVP in 2021.
Before I answer this question, I feel the need to just state the most valuable player year in and year out is LeBron James. Like, I don't even know why in 2021 this is still a topic of conversation, but to amuse our audience, right? Because this is a show and we want people to watch. And by the way, if you don't believe the most valuable, according to Google, designating the player judged to be the most important to the sport, there's no player more important to the NBA than LeBron. But I digress. The MVP of this season is clear. It's Chris Paul, right? So this is going to throw people for a loop. But Chris Paul, I have his numbers in front of me, is averaging 16 points per game on 48.7% shooting from the field, 8.8 assists in 31.7 minutes. By the way, the Suns have the second best record, not just in the Western Conference, but in the entire NBA at 42-17. We know what Devin and DeAndre Ayton bring to the table, but it's clear. If you watch the Suns, the biggest difference between them last year and this year, even with the addition of Jay Crowder, is one Chris Paul. Now, I'm not the biggest Chris Paul fan, but it's hard to deny what his value is to that organization. I understand there are some better people in terms of having individual stats like Embiid and Jokic. This nonsense about Steph Curry winning MVP needs to stop. Okay, you can't be struggling to make it to the playoffs. We're going to anoint you MVP. That's not the way this works. We're not going to move goalposts and move metrics. We're going to go based on how we awarded the award in the past. And if you look at the Phoenix Suns and ask yourself, what's the biggest difference between that team last year and this year? It's the acquisition of CP3.
I thought it was Monty Williams.
I'm sorry, did Monty Williams play, John?
Monty Williams, they went undefeated when he took the job in the bubble. So it's like, kind of.
Hold on. Does he play? Yes or no?
He doesn't.
Chris Paul is the ultimate field general.
I believe it. Chris Paul's my top 3 for MVP voting right now.
Okay,
But it's hard to give MVP to a guy that's not even the best player on his team. Like, I'm gonna just be like, is that? Am I crazy when I say that? Like, if Booker's not on that team, or Phoenix the same? Like, I get it. I know the win percentage is like skyrocketed, second in the West when Chris Paul's in there, and Chris Paul's impact on the game is crazy. But MVP, like, we gonna give him MVP of the league, like when Jokic is doing, right? You take Jokic off Denver, they have a top 3 pick. You take, you know what I mean, Joel Embiid off Philly. I don't know if they can get a basket. Chris Paul off Phoenix, like John said, they went 8-0 in the bubble last year. Like, they have players on this team. Are we?
Hey, Jeff, let me respond to that. Let me respond to that real quick. So last year, would you agree that Nikola Jokic was the best player on the Nuggets?
No, not in the bubble anyway. Not in the bubble.
Hey, who was the most
Murray was
player in the bubble?
Murray was in his bag.
For the Nuggets, it was Murray. For me.
I agree with you. Devin Booker is more talented than Chris Paul and is probably a better player. But who's the leader of this team?
Definitely Chris Paul.
CP's the leader for sure.
And his effect on the court and in the locker room is one of the biggest reasons they are in the position they're in. He doesn't get enough credit for what he's doing. And it doesn't reflect in his stat sheet. But again, 17-9 on close to 50% shooting in 31 minutes, that's really efficient. He's doing what he's been doing his entire career. We just need to see him do it on the biggest stages in the playoffs, free of injury. I get it. But in terms of MVP, I would give him my vote.
If this was during the time Steve Nash won them, I would agree. But because the numbers are so astronomical now and players are kind of like filling up the stat sheet, you can't like it would make the most sense to use team success as a barometer of MVP. But
the Suns have a better record.
They do, but the NBA is not going to reward that. We've seen the list, like they've come out like every 2 weeks, like of the MVP standards. Chris Paul is a footnote on that list, and it's easy. So I mean, I agree. Like Chris Paul should have consideration, but at the same time, Curry might be one of the first players to do 50-50-90. Like that's crazy. Like so.
And barely make it to the playoffs, and barely make it to the playoffs.
Okay, so
he did lose his supporting cast too. Like I mean,
no. To that point though, John. To that point. So that Curry Chris Paul thing kind of intrigues me, right? Because Curry is regarded as the best shooter ever, right? Like everybody loves him. He's got 3 rings. He's got 2 MVPs. He's regarded as the best shooter ever. And Chris Paul's got all these All-Star appearances, but no rings, no MVPs. But every team, Chris Paul's never had a team like what Curry's on right now. Like Chris Paul, since like he got good, became Chris Paul. He's never been on a bad team, even with no All-Star teammates, even with like changing teams all the time. He goes to a Phoenix Sun team that was in the lottery last year and they're the second in the West. So who makes a bigger impact on the game? Is it Chris Paul or is it Steph Curry? This is for anybody.
Steph, and here's why. Here's why. I've heard this argument before. Like, basically, Chris Paul, and I was one of them. The Thunder weren't supposed to make the playoffs last year. He took that team kicking and screaming to the playoffs. Like, I couldn't name you their starting 5 or their roster. So that's a kudos to him. But for people to act like Steph Curry, or the reason the Warriors were a super team was because Klay Thompson and Draymond Green were always who they were. Steph Curry was the straw that stirred that drink. The reason Klay Thompson and Draymond Green were able to get loose was in large part because there was so much focus and attention paid to Steph Curry. His movement with the ball, his movement when he had the ball, without the ball. Like Steph Curry is the catalyst and is the face of the greatest dynasty we've seen this generation. Like sans the early 2000s.
He wasn't the face of it. He wasn't the face. Kevin Durant was the face.
No, he was.
Kevin Durant was the face. Like they became what you just said, the greatest dynasty because of Kevin Durant. They would have been a good team, a good dynasty if Durant never joins, but they got beat by LeBron the very next year. And they begged and screamed and cried to get KD to join. And then that's when they became unbeatable. Then that's when they became in the conversation with the 90s Bulls and all that stuff. That's because KD joined. It wasn't because of the current team that was constructed, because that team got beat by LeBron and Kyrie. Like, so you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's what my thoughts on it. Anybody can chime in.
I'm not gonna disagree with the host. I'm gonna let you live on that one.
No, you can say what you want, because I think Curry is a great player. But when I really look at it, Chris Paul, like you said, every team he goes to becomes instantly better. They never won a championship. They never gotten over that hump, and this year it doesn't look like they will. But they're never in the lottery neither. Like Curry for the last 2 years. Last year he was hurt. I'll give him that. But this year, I mean, you're talking about players. Like these guys aren't soup sandwiches. Like Wiggins can play. Like Oubre can play. D'Angelo Russell, when he was on the team, could play. Draymond can play. And they've been there for the majority of the season. And they look like a lottery team, right? Like they're fighting, scratching, clawing. It took for this last 11-game stretch, Curry going bonkers, for them to really even get in the playoff consideration. So am I crazy when I say I think Chris Paul makes a bigger impact on a basketball team than Steph Curry?
Yes, you are crazy, but I still love you.
I can agree with the craziness, because I don't mind a little craziness. It's just you gotta see both sides of it, I guess. I mean, Steph's guys, they're not like, I mean, Wiggins no scrub, but he's no Devin Booker. Draymond Green's he's no DeAndre Ayton. So it's like Chris Paul just elevated these guys who are already good. Steph Curry is more of a, like, he'll make his teammates better based off of like the attention he draws, not because, like he's setting other people up. So the games are, different. But as far as like impact to your original question, I'm gonna agree with Marcus, go Steph over CP. But it's like, I mean, CP just manages the floor better. Like, and if that's what you want from your point guard, then you have no problems with that.
Hey, Jeff, real quick, for a split second. And again, I'm not proud to say this publicly, but Steph Curry actually had me convinced he was the best player in the league. It was like for a split second. Like I've never seen someone
those 2 years
take over the league in a 2 year stretch where it's like, yo, he's playing out of his mind. Like out of his mind.
But what I will say, Steph Curry is a special player. And Ashton, I want to hear you on this. Are you more of a CP3 guy or a Steph guy? And then I might leave it alone after I hear what you got to say.
This is a safe place.
I think I'm more of a CP3 guy. I would want CP3 on my team. He's just more of a leader, in my opinion, to lead an actual basketball team. He's a great point guard. Like the Suns is #1 in the league. Like that's crazy to even think about. Best record in the league. They did go, undefeated in the bubble without CP3, but their record wasn't good before the bubble like that. So you know what I'm saying. So I feel like I would want CP3 on my NBA team if I wanted somebody to lead my team.
Yes, and the thing about Curry, it's like without Clay, he's still an amazing player. But I mean, there's been great players with crazy numbers that teams just didn't win. Right, like, and that's what seems to be Curry without Klay Thompson. It seems like when Klay Thompson's MIA, the Warriors just forget how to play basketball. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, DeAndre Ayton, he's coming into his own now. He was a #1 pick. I'm not going to knock that off. Yeah. He's kind of coming to his own since CP3 got there. Like, the Suns have had lottery pick after lottery pick after lottery pick, and it's never been good until this year. And not only are they good, they're like top in the league. Like Ashton said, their first, second overall record in the entire league. And that's because of what you said, Marcus. One man. That was CP3. This is a team that's had top 5 picks the last 10 years. They haven't been good in a decade. And they get one player and their fortune changed this dramatically. Whereas the Warriors lose one player, Klay Thompson, and therefore they can do the opposite.
Wait, no, they lost more than Klay Thompson. They lost KD and Klay Thompson.
They lost KD, yeah, but now they're not even in the playoff contention. Like that. Okay, losing KD, you just told me Steph was the face of a dynasty. He was the guy that was going to help them become the greatest dynasty ever, and they lose KD. That same team you said he was the face, and they don't make the playoffs for the next.
Here's the thing: Steph and Klay, like the Splash Brothers, was a real thing. But I want people to know The seasons that Steph Curry won MVP, the first year was crazy. That was questionable. James Harden probably should have won the award. If we're being intellectually honest, the NBA media has gotten the last like 7, with the exception of maybe Steph in 2015, 2016, MVP award winners wrong. Like this is what they do, right? But Klay Thompson is good for 18 points per game, but Steph Curry was averaging 30 with 7 assists, 50% from the field, 40% from 3, 90% from the free throw line. Like the disparity between his performance and Klay's was like there's levels to this. Like Klay Thompson, I have this argument with people all the time. Klay Thompson's not a superstar. He's an all-star. He might be getting paid like a star, but Klay Thompson is an all-star player.
But Klay takes the best. He takes the best. He guards the best player on every team, though. Steph plays no defense. Like let's not even pretend like Steph Curry plays defense. He guards the dude who don't shoot. He guards like the thigh bulls and the you know what I mean. The guys who have like no offensive threat.
I mean those guys are still big too.
Excuse me for not holding the smallest person on the court accountable for playing defense. The premium he provides.
I'm trying.
That's a lie.
That's OD. That's OD. He definitely.
Curry's like,
that is a lie.
Switch. Like, bro, come on, bro. Like,
he led the league in steals twice. He's trying something.
That's a lie.
Yo, dear Jeff. It's a
the premium he provides offensively is greater. All right, put it this way. Nobody in the NBA does anything better than Steph Curry shoots the basketball. Not a single soul. LeBron passing, Andre Drummond rebounding, Kevin Durant pulling up from 30. There's not a single person in the NBA who has a skill better, Kyrie with his crossover, the handles, than Steph Curry shooting a basketball. Period, point blank. So that premium he provides for his team is bar none. So I don't care if he doesn't play defense, to be honest. Draymond Green was a defensive anchor. Klay Thompson is supposed to be on the perimeter and wing, while Steph Curry is supposed to be orchestrating the offense, running around screens all day. That's their role, or were their role.
I'm not knocking Steph, but I like, you know, if I'm building a team and I want to win, like if I want to score a bunch of points, yeah, give me Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? Give me Steph. But if I want to win and I know a player that's going to help my team get into the playoffs, even though my team is trash or it's been trash for a decade, give me CP3. Give me Chris Paul. Because I know for a fact that Steph going to light it up, but we may not make the playoffs. CP3, I know for a fact we're at least going to make the playoffs. We might not win the championship, but we're going to get there.
I'm gonna give you two things for your point, Jeff. One, I blame the Warriors role players and their complacency, because Draymond should elevate his game to another level. When you lose players like KD and Klay, Draymond should be stepping up. Kelly Oubre should be in his bag. Wiggins should be in his bag. These guys who were given opportunity when Steph were down and injured last year should have took this time to elevate their game. That way, when Steph came back, they'd be on a whole nother trajectory. Like this, like you said, this team is not scrubs. Like their starting five is recognizable, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And even with Eric Pascal, like this team is good. So I think they should have been in the gym, getting crazy, getting right for this season. Now with Klay being out like that threw a little dingers. So I think with the Warriors role players being complacent, that's one of their negative flaws. The other niche is with Chris Paul. I've heard this on Mark's show before. Availability is the best ability. So for Ashton mentioned it earlier, with him being out that game 6 and 7 against the Warriors, the Rockets had a chance to win that series. Chris Paul always, I don't want to say finds a way, but there's always been bad luck with Chris Paul with getting in at the most an opportune time. So it's like, bro, if you're not here, I can't give you that green light to to the promised land. It's clicked. Meanwhile, we've seen Steph be in his bag before. So it's like, you're damned if you are, damned if you don't. But at the same time, it's like, if I want to know who's been tested and who could take me on the trajectory towards a chip, it's going to be Steph.
Okay, I have no argument for that, because your best ability is availability. You're absolutely right on that. Once again, I'm talking to John Jenkins, Marcus Lamar, and Ashton Edmunds here on the Black Boss channel. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Guys, I'll get you out on this, but John, I want you to start this off. There's a team that is taking the NBA by storm. They have won 8 games in a row, I want to say. They have an all-star. They have a guy that is going to be probably on an all-NBA team, and that is the New York Knickerbockers, the New York Knicks that play in the Madison Square Garden. John, what are your thoughts on the Knicks season this year, and And how do you think they project in the playoffs?
Let me get comfortable because he about to be a long time.
We talking Knicks? Oh, wait a minute. I had no idea. Matter of fact, in this case, since we're speaking facts and realists, I take my MVP vote back.
No, stop.
MVP vote goes to Julius Randle.
Oh no!
My coach of the year goes to Tom Thibodeau. My coach of the year goes to Scott Perry. We do the damn thing. We changing the league. But first off, I don't like that I'm getting all this Knicks notoriety because some guy is talking about, oh, the league is better when the Knicks.
No,
the league is better when the Knicks are winning. You would have been here in 2010. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear.
You gotta let the hurt go, bro. You gotta let the hurt go.
It's not just some guy either. Like it's not just some guy. Say his name.
He might be the third greatest basketball player to ever touch the basketball. But
yeah, and the first two are LeBron, and the second is Raymond. Yeah, you're right.
Sounds good. But what I'm saying is the Knicks are back, and that's the thing. I did a segment on my show. I was gonna release it early in the week, but we've been, as a nation, there were things that are more important. But yeah. The Knicks fan base, we've been through a lot. We get ridiculed, we get disrespected. But when the Knicks say we're back, we don't say it like, oh, the Knicks are back to win a chip. We just want to be back to be relevant. If there's a difference. There's LeBron fans who think he's going to win it every year. There's KD fans who want to know what's the next top team he's going to go to. But Knicks fans have been consistent. I don't understand how they're New York people who are Lakers fans, Mavs fans, Spurs. It don't make sense. You're from New York.
Have me next time. You say my name next time. It's cool.
Listen. Well, I can't say you're a Lakers fan because you've been a Cavs fan and a Miami Heat fan. But to be exact, the Knicks are back. We're cooking with grease. Julius Randle has the most improved locked up. I thought it was Jordan Clark. He has 6 man. So Julius has MIP locked up. He'll get an All NBA thing. Hopefully, Jokic goes down with some injuries so my man Randle can get it. Because listen. My man Randall's put this team on his back. We're buying into Tibbs, which is why I said Chris Paul is a valuable player. Don't get me wrong, but my man Monty Williams brought in a culture to the Suns where it's like, yo, we see we can compete with these. I never thought in my lifetime I would see the Suns after the Steve Nash and Mario Stoudemire era. They'd be a top 3 team in the West, in the league at that. And the Suns are back. So with the Suns being back, the Knicks are back, but we're even better. We need to stay in this 4 to 5 seed because 6 and worse, and I'm not gonna hold you. Like we're gonna be competitive because I think we're the top 1. Like we're first in a lot of defensive.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now. Yes,
I know you are because I remember you said the Lakers are top 1 or 2, but I was like that's impossible because the Knicks are 1. I thought you would have mentioned it.
No, the Lakers are second behind the Knicks in terms of points per game on defense. Yeah, and the Nets are 22nd, by the way.
They're behind the Knicks in defensive ratings, and they're behind the Knicks in seeding as well. So whatever makes the cookie crumble.
Oh, I see what you did. That was cute.
Listen, the Knicks are back is good for the NBA because I said it's good for the NBA. John said it. And Knicks fans, like, we have a reason to we're just glad to be back. I mean, 2014, I was graduating college. That's a long time ago for a team to be relevant. So that's my deal. If you guys say anything to disagree, I'll probably just mute it. But if anything else, you're good.
Marcus, your thoughts on the Knicks or anything that John just eloquently stated?
Thank you.
Honestly, I'm not a Knicks fan, even though I'm a native New Yorker. Shout out to Brooklyn, the greatest borough, home of the greatest rappers as well. But when the Knicks,
Nas from Queensbridge, oh my bad, keep going.
I'm Nasir Jones, stop it.
But
that's a topic for another day.
I know, yeah.
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with Jeffrey. But no, I remember when the Knicks were 54 and I think 28 with Mike Woodson. And honestly, the energy around the Garden and around the team was like, yo, when the Knicks are doing really well, you feel different. Like the conversation is different. So I'm excited to see them doing well. If anybody, including Knicks Nation, tells you they had this for them, they are lying and they need to stop it. What I will say is this: I'm not trying to rant on their parade, but we know that Tom Thibodeau can get a lot out of his teams in the beginning. We need to see what this Knicks team looks like 2 to 3 years from now under Tom Thibodeau. Are they still going to have their legs? Are they still going to be competing on the defensive end? Because we know Thibodeau's knock on the past is that he runs his teams into the ground. But they should make the playoffs. If they play the Hawks, they're a real live threat to win a first-round series. Like John said, they need to stay in that 4 to 5 range because if they play anybody 1, 2, and 3, whether it's the Knicks, the Sixers, Bucks, or the Nets, it's clear. But congratulations, they deserve this moment.
Ashton, we'll finish up with you. Your thoughts on the New York Knicks and LeBron James' statement. By the way, John brought it up, but he didn't say the man's name. LeBron James said that the NBA is better when the Knicks are doing good. Ashton, you're down in the South. Is that true? Do you think the NBA is better when the Knicks are doing good?
I mean, it's okay, but I'm gonna be honest. The Knicks fans are delusional. Like my homeboy is a Knicks fan, and he really thinks they could win a championship. I don't know what goes on through his mind, but I mean, it's good to see the Knicks doing great. 8 straight win. Julius Randle leading the team. You got Derrick Rose, Manuel Quickly. They're all doing their thing. So it's great to see the Knicks doing their thing. But let's be realistic. They're not gonna go too far in the playoffs. But this is a great stepping stone for the Knicks in New York, to bring the city back for sure. So
it's great for New York. Yeah, it's great for New York. You know what I'm saying? But I'm with Ashton. Is the NBA better when the Knicks are good? I don't know. The Knicks ain't been good. I'm 25, man. The Knicks have been good like 1 year in 25 in my entire life, right? Like we had the comment. I left it up there for you, John. It said the Knicks been trashed and Stan was holding on to Pat Ewing's leg. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if the NBA is better when the Knicks are good. I don't know. Like, the Knicks are cool when Melo was there. Julius Randle's hooping now. You know what I'm saying? He's revitalized his career. But I don't know if the NBA is better. It's the same to me.
Jeff, a fun fact about John. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, but aren't you a Knicks, Jets, and Mets fan, the unholy trinity?
Oh, my God.
First off, it's a lot of disrespect, and I'm I thought we were all on the same page, being fraternal, but obviously and no, Marcus, it's Knicks, Giants, Mets. There's
okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. I've lived through the Knicks being in the finals. I lived through the Mets being in the World Series. And I've seen my Giants win 2 chips. So it's not crazy to like come on.
Yeah, that's over the span almost 30 years, brother. But I mean, not to you though, big dog.
First off, I would like to address Mr. Williams. It was Jeff Van Gundy holding on to Marcus Camby's legs during that. But that just shows that the coach is willing to rock. How many coaches getting in the scuffle? Don't worry, I'll wait. Like we got, but that's it. But let me hit the main thing. The thing is, there's delusional, and then there's like realist. You might have a friend who's all the way gone, but most Knicks fans are in the middle. But what did they say about championship, Jeff? What wins championships?
What'd you say? Who wins championships?
What wins championships?
Star players.
Players win championships.
No. Defense wins championships. You know the saying, fellas. Oh, so now we don't know. Defense wins championships. And what are the Knicks
superstars?
And what are the Knicks defensive ratings this year?
You have no superstars. Stop.
The Pistons didn't have any superstars either.
Yeah, and their defense was otherworldly. They held 8 teams in the playoffs.
That was almost 20 years ago. The NBA changed. Like we're not gonna act like 04 and 21 are the same years. Like the NBA has drastically changed since then.
Shouldn't that be a point in our favor? The NBA has drastically changed, and we're still number 1 in defense in major categories. That's wild.
You're giving up 105 points per game. Relax.
And listen, and the Nets lost a game when it was 144 to like 157,
which is why they will not win a championship. Correct. I'm glad we're on the
we'll see about that. But guys,
and that's not even from Brooklyn.
I've held you long enough. Thank you all for tuning in. Once again, it's Marcus Lamar, Ashton Edmunds, and John Jenkins, and I'm Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe on your way out, and we are out.